We are live. Hey, everybody. Heather Ash here, broadcasting across multiple channels on this blessed Tuesday evening. So I hope all of you are doing well. I have a couple things that I wanted to share. And first, I've missed doing love streaming. I haven't done it for a while. So I've been really excited all day I get to do a love stream. I get to connect with my peeps. Second, I'm in a new space. As you can tell, I'm in the forest. No, I'm not in the forest. My sweetie Franklin is in the process of buying a new house. It's being remodeled. So I'm in what will become the office and in an empty house. It's pretty cool. So the internet is awesome. My life is happy because it's all so much about the internet. Hi, Wendy in my world. So for those of you that are here live with me, please share. Where are you tuning in from, or say hello and share your name. And I want to talk about two things today. Well, many things, but solitude and what solitude is, and community and what community is, and to share a little bit about the new podcast that I have out today and the new circle that we have starting. So again, if you're live, welcome. So glad to have you here. If you're watching the recording later, welcome. And I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from. So share your name and share where you're from. Chicago. Hey, Julie. Kathy from Ashland. Hey, Kathy. Michelle from Denver. Yay! Hey, everybody. I'm broadcasting live from Las Vegas, New Mexico, which is about an hour outside of Santa Fe, exactly east of Santa Fe. And we're on the other side of the mountains, which is pretty fun. And I'm, again, in a new space that has really good internet. I cannot tell you how lovely it is to have solid internet. This morning, at about, 1:30, I was up and tried to put myself back to sleep and realized putting myself back to sleep was not the best idea. And sometimes putting yourself back to sleep isn't the best idea, or you can't sleep. So I want to talk about, as we move towards winter and we're moving towards the darkness. Hey, sweetheart, North Carolina, I know the land is amazing. So I'll talk about that too. And I can share my screen so I can share photos. That as we're moving towards winter, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, and towards more darkness, that some of us are going to bed early, waking up when it's still dark, or waking up in the middle of the night. And this is the cool thing about darkness, is that for humans, this is my friend Clark Strand wrote an incredible book called Waking Up to the Dark. And in it, he talks about research that was done on people that were put in a space that was completely dark where they could sleep as long as they wanted to. And what they found is that everybody slept for about an average of an hour longer. Hey, Elizabeth from New Jersey, an hour longer than they normally would. And they expected that. They expected that when humans had like complete pristine sleeping environment, that they would sleep for a little bit longer, kind of catch up with the ways that they weren't sleeping. But what they didn't expect was this, that after about 3 weeks, I think it was, that everybody in the study started waking up after about 4 hours. So that the rhythm was, hey, Sarah from Australia, good morning to you, that they would sleep for 4 hours, they would wake up for a couple hours, and then they would go back to sleep. And as Clark started doing more research around this time, he found that, for example, in Europe, that was called the God time. That was when people got up and prayed or met with other people. Like, it was a really sacred time. And I think that's true in a lot of different cultures. And sometimes we have this belief of like, I'm supposed to sleep 8 hours solid or 7 hours solid, and that's a good sleep. But I've actually found that, hey, Cinda, yay, that if I am getting enough rest, that I'll wake up in the middle of the night and have a couple hours to myself. And that time's super precious to me because it's quieter psychically. There's nobody around. I don't get on the internet. I sit I just am quiet during that time. Sometimes I write, exactly, Kim. Sometimes I meditate. When I'm at the yurt, I've got a fire, so I sit in front of the fire. When I'm up on the land, I have a wood stove. I sit up in front of the wood stove, and I just let myself settle. And it really feels like letting the mud and the debris of the day settle down and get quieter and slow. And I do my warrior heart practice, which is the practice that I created, that I do to separate out, okay, what am I feeling? What's the story? What's actually true? And what's my intent? So that I can create more spaciousness inside of myself. And that's exactly what happened this morning, is that I woke up and I realized that I was really psychically, emotionally, energetically full. I just felt full, like I had overeaten. And the day before, in fact, we had our early Thanksgiving on Sunday, and I so overate and ate stuff that my body didn't like. And so I was in pain. And I was like, yep, this is the feeling of being over full. I don't like it. And I found myself the same way emotionally and mentally this morning when I woke up. And it was such just a gift to be able to sit in front of the fire and let the debris clear and start to really open to what's going on. So, solitude. A lot of us are afraid sometimes of solitude because we don't want to be alone. We're habituated to distracting ourselves. We're afraid of emotions that might be there or unfinished stories that might be there. We don't feel like we have time for solitude or stillness. But in fact, you don't have time not to have solitude and stillness. How's that for a double negative? We all need solitude, where there's nothing else going on and we can get quiet. And yes, sometimes solitude means, hey, Brett, that there's stuff to clear and that we have to sit with the discomfort before the clarity comes. And that's okay, to get more comfortable with the discomfort and to let ourselves settle, to just be with what is without trying to fix or change or control it, to see what's there. And my experience today was the sense of, what was the sense of? Just feeling really full and feeling really buzzy energetically. And when I went to then ask myself, okay, what am I telling myself? What's the story? What has gotten tangled up that's causing me to feel unbalanced energetically? What I found was an old agreement of I need to fix, I need to take care, I need to know what to do. And there's been some complicated personal friend situations in my life over the last week. You know, we've been doing this big launch, so there's been a tremendous amount of energy going towards launching the new circle and all that brings up, because it's a birth. And birth, you go through, hey, Leslie, you go through the birth canal and it's tight and you get squeezed and all your stuff gets brought up to the surface. So going through a launch with our team and then having multiple different things coming up with beloveds, with people that are very close to me that are struggling, some in very big ways, and holding space for each of them individually. So I had a lot of personal conversations with dear friends and beloveds over the last week. And like one of them at a time would have been like, I would have been able to process it. But I realized having the launch and all the energy gone towards that and my processing, and then having multiple people, I just got overwhelmed. And like the butterfly emerging from the cocoon, I love that. And I go into the cocoon is what it felt like today, and just be with the discomfort, be with the dissolving, and get to that agreement of like, oh, the reason that I'm feeling out of sorts right now is because I'm trying to, I have this old belief I need to fix what's happening. And what's true is that I can't fix. other people's journeys. I can show up, I can be present, I can love. That's my gift. I can offer counsel, I can offer reflection. But anytime we go into, I have to fix ourselves, the country, our friends, our partner, the world, there's going to be stress because we can't do it. Yeah, and the energy right now is really topsy-turvy, for sure. And so when I went into what's my intent, where do I want to put my focus, my attention? It was really around just being steady inside of myself, staying centered in myself, staying loving, letting that love ripple out. And so there was a rewire where then I was just, okay, there's nothing to fix. I get to come back into my center and let that love, clarity, presence, joy ripple out. And to then, as Leslie said, the energy right now is really topsy-turvy. There's a lot going on with the pandemic and a lot of us getting locked down at another level, the numbers spiking, the uncertainty of like the transition that we're in the United States with the presidents, and a lot of businesses shutting down and struggling, uncertainty around finances, the holidays coming, and how is that going to work? And are we going to see family or not see family? So to bring our attention to how can I use this time to deepen into solitude, into my own stillness. And solitude isn't about being alone and playing and like doing other things. Solitude's about finding the beauty in the stillness, finding the beauty in there's nothing that needs to be done. And it's so easy to stay hooked to there's always something to do. There's always energy to put. But what I've found, this is what I'm practicing in my life right now at a really deep way of this rewire. I think this is definitely for me, the rewire for 2020 is how to settle into stillness and solitude and be really unplugged from a lot of different things so that I can resource internally and let things settle. And then how to, from that stillness, then plug in fully, like really go into the tasks that I want to do, the things that need to get done, to not procrastinate, to not push, to be excited to invest energy in wherever it needs to go, whatever needs to happen, whether that's building up on the land, whether that's helping like clean up the amount of cleaning up that had to happen in this house is epic. We were cleaning out 3 people's life stuff that was left in this house that we didn't know, like 3 strangers. So that was a whole fascinating thing. And it was great because I was able to just like 100% going in. So that level of solitude into action. And then once the action is taken, then you go back into the solitude. And to really watch, what are we doing with our energy that's not serving us? Where are we leaking energy? Where are we scattered? Where are we distracting ourselves? Where are we repressing? Where are we cycling story, fear, energy, emotions in ways that aren't helpful? And just to be honest, that place of being honest. And then the second piece is around community, around how to craft and build community, because we need both separate time, alone time, people time. And each of us has a different balance for that. And because of COVID, we get to be extra creative at this time of how we build community, how we find community that can hold and witness and support us. Hey, Colette, welcome. So community. I just did a podcast with 2 of my dearest family friends, Jessica and Tom, and I've known them for 30 years, something like that. We knew each other in our let's just put it, we knew each other in our 20s, and we're all in our 50s now. So we've gone through 3 decades with each other, and we've changed tremendously. Obviously, the humans we were at our 20s is very different than who we are in our 50s. And there's also pieces that are the same. And one of the things that we talked about in the podcast is how blessed we were and are to have had an incredible community and to be supported. Hey, Shakti, Sakya. Yeah. Sheila. I love it. Hey. So I'm going to just share the link to the podcast. And this is the 3rd in the new Warrior Goddess Revolution podcast. So if you haven't had a chance to listen yet, nothing needs to be done. We need community. Yeah. Summed up. So, and apparently that did not save. I'll try it again. So community, and again, at a young age, in my early 20s, I was really just incredibly blessed to meet a group of people that were incredibly open, activists, environmentalists, heart-centered beings. And we all grew up together. Part of what happened is we were all part of either the school newspaper or what was called the Experimental College or the Whole Earth Festival. And so there was this area on campus at UC Davis where we all stayed, we all worked, and we would run into each other. And the gift then of also having a shared project, because we all put on a festival together, and so most of us got to know each other, was putting on this festival once a year. And there was so much growth that happened through community, and it really helped me understand how vital community is in our lives. And that's been one of my missions in my life, is helping to build community, whether that's in-person community or online community. Brina, just knowing others, very spiritual people, are going through very similar feelings and struggle right now is helpful. Good, I'm glad. I was trying to share what's going on. I'm grieving large social gatherings and how life was before the pandemic. Just saying, yeah, we all are still. I mean, there's a lot that we've lost, and there's a lot that we've gained, I think, that we can gain. So, and it's not easy. It's a struggle. It's challenging. It's work to stay centered. And especially for those of us that have, that are really struggling with survival. Like, what do I do with my business? How do I feed my kids? How do I stay engaged in my children's education and work? There's a lot of juggling that we're learning how to do right now, and a lot of uncertainty. So I look forward, I think we're all looking forward to when we can physically be together and touch and hug and celebrate and just be around other humans physically. It'll be so good. And doesn't it make us really honor that, like how important that physical connection is with other humans, how important community is? Yeah. Hi, Desiree. Hi, love. Hey, Dugya from Montreal, Canada. Welcome. Dugu. From Turkey, it looks like, from your name. Nikki, welcome. So community, physical community, online community. Let's talk. The Warrior Heart Ranch, the land that I'm working on right now, the intent is that it will be physical community where we can all come together and where we can have nature, where we can have people, where we can really reconnect in a very physical way with the elements and with other humans and with animals. There's so many cool animals out there. And that as that place is being crafted and held, that we're also looking at how do we continue to build online community, which is so important. And to do it in an intimate, vulnerable, deep way, rather than just surface. And I think all of us are craving that, is a place where we can feel seen, where we can feel safe, where we get insights and information and guidance, and that we feel connected. There's that sense of connection, more than the sense of disconnection that sometimes the internet can bring, you know? So that's something that I'm always looking at. How do we show up with each other so that we're not distracted, so that we're letting our hearts be felt, letting ourselves be seen, and being held by others? Aw, hello. I miss the Toltec Center gatherings. Yeah, me too. So much painful and yet lovely evolution for all of us, but your gatherings were always the best circle. Like the butterfly, we must have the struggle to grow and be healthy. So true. I have to run, but wish you much love. Bye. Much love to you. Yeah, we had an amazing center in Texas, in Austin. That is no longer. So, yeah. And things evolve. And so the evolution is 180 acres of land. Not bad. Yeah, exactly, Leslie. I think COVID-19 fatigue is real, and I am being patient with myself and navigating the long race. Exactly. It is. It's definitely real. And it's been, months and months and months, and it's true, long haul, long race. How do we stay sustainable? And I think that's also why community is really important, is that we're reminding each other that there are other ways to connect, that we can continue to learn and grow, and that one day we'll get to be physically together again. And so how do we get ourselves through the winter in a good way? So again, those of us that are in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going into more physical darkness, we're going into cold. And how do we nurture and sustain ourselves? How do we keep the fire inside of us burning bright? And how do we stay connected? So that's a question. So what is bringing all of you a sense of connection? Or how would you like more connection in your life? How are you doing? So I always love doing a check-ins during these love streams. How are you? What is feeding you right now? Where do you need more nourishment? Where are you feeling scattered or distracted? And where are you feeling solid in your life? So thanks to those of you that are just joining. I'm watching the numbers do this. So to those of you that are here, yeah, nature, it's my source of connection. Great, Nikki, exactly. More nature. That's why I've been so mindful to share photos of the land and the building. I actually need to share more photos of the land, because I've been sharing lots of photos of the process of the building and less of the land, but the land is spectacular. Even it's so interesting, because just to be on a space over time, because the spring was so green and vibrant. And now as everything settles into winter and there's a lot more brown and the trees have lost their leaves, hi, Jamie. Yeah, just to see that part of the cycle, of the letting go part of the cycle. Leslie, I've been helping my neighbor since she had her knee replaced. Today I took up her trash cans, and last week I took her some food. That's great. Yeah, and that sense of having neighbors and taking care of our neighbors, really important. Yeah, really important. Yeah, more nature for sure. And I think that's something that we're going to need to figure out too, is as it gets colder, how do we stay out? Like, how do we keep ourselves warm enough to be outside and to enjoy the nature, even when it's not sunny and bright and pretty, even when it's rainy and cold, to pretend like we're Canadians or in the UK and they go out in the rain no matter what. Oh, beautiful work. I'm a massage therapist, so being able to help others helps me feel better. Absolutely, to be in service in that way. Rihanna, staying in touch with loved ones via phone calls, handwritten letters, cards. Nice. I love that. Yes. Beautiful. Yeah. Good. I've been, I'm just about to do a big love package to the folks that were part of the shamanism summit. It's been months. Obviously, it's been like 6 months since the shamanism summit. And I've been slowly gathering things to say thank you to the people that I was blessed to interview. Yeah. Yeah. Nature, yes, and helping people around. Otherwise, solitude. Yeah. I'm missing the human touch and in-face connection. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So as we start wrapping up here, I wanted to also share, besides the podcast, let me see if I can share it again. www. Let me see if this works. Maybe it wants the warrior goddess. There is the new podcast. Episode 3 is now live. Can it do? Look, warriorgoddess.com podcast. Hey, Lauren. Yes, nature. We've had a flux of instability this year, so I feel blessed. Our temporary home is by the sea. Oh, so good. Cleansing, salting air walks helps to stay present centered. Absolutely. Did the first live test on my Facebook page to give encouragement and support to people, and planning to do another this week. Yay, that's so great, Jamie. So happy. Because people need support. What a great way to do it. Leslie, exploring my creative energy to sustain me through winter. Yeah, this is a really good time to have inside projects. So to pull things together. So I'm going to start doing more collages. And it's so exciting to have, I get a room in the new house. I'm going to have my own room. So I'm excited to have internet and have my own little room to start doing projects in. Teresa, someone on the news tonight said that in times of scarcity, people tend to pull in and protect themselves, when what we should be doing is giving to our community and sharing. That is what ends scarcity. That's so true. That really hit home. Yeah. And that's something that I've been doing is really, I did a big deep dive research on Monday about Indigenous communities and where to give money to help. Because right now, some of the most impacted communities is the Indigenous communities and the Black communities. And so I've been looking at how to make sure that I can share resources to those areas, even if it's like one list that I was looking at, they're like, we need diapers and shampoo. And I'm like, okay, that I can do. Let's get some shampoo and diapers for people. So there's little ways that we can help. And it's so true. Instead of I'm going to just protect and hold my own, how we get through is going, how do we help the people that are the most impacted? And that's something else that really struck me about Vermont. Yeah, the Navajo Nation, exactly. That Vermont, I was just reading, they're one of the states that has the lowest COVID numbers and have done the best. And what they did is, in the very beginning, they looked at who are our most vulnerable populations and how do we make sure that they can be socially distant. And so the homeless shelters, what they did is the state rented a bunch of hotel rooms, and they said, we've got you. If you need to socially distance, here are the hotel rooms. And so they moved people into hotel rooms that needed space. Domestic violence centers. And because they protected the most vulnerable, that's what they're learning about COVID, is if you can help the most vulnerable, the ones that are the most exposed, that helps everybody. And so Vermont is a really good role model. And that's what we need to be looking at, is we're learning from what different states, what different countries are doing around COVID-19. But what we're often seeing is that there's this community focus, that when the focus is around the community, that's when the most effectiveness around shifting things is, rather than the focus on individual. Yes. I do collages too, and inspired by you looking my little farm to buy to realize other projects. Awesome. And reading your books. Nature, helping people around and being inspired. Yay. Excellent. Yeah. So project. So I have a winter project for all of you. Oh, good. That's great. That's great that the Navajo Nation is doing that. Yeah. Yeah. And on Thanksgiving, I'm going to share some links and resources around how we can give back to the Indigenous community. And I always, uh, Thanksgiving for me is more about how to support and educate all of us around the Native American communities so that we understand the history, the brutal history around the Indigenous people of Turtle Island. So we understand the land that we're on. So those of us that are in the United States or Canada, especially as those of us that are settlers that are non-native to these lands, that we are deeply respectful and that we honor and learn the history and give back to those marginalized communities and educate ourselves around the struggles. Yeah, there's so much. So project, some of you are already in the new circle, but I want to take a moment to share about our new circle, which is called the Warrior Goddess Training Circle. It's open to everybody, and it is a safe, sacred place for transformation, for healing, for learning tools. So I think of it as three aspects. Tools, really specific practical tools to create change in your life, to bring more energy into your being, to let go of the past, to stay clear, to keep that inner fire bright, learning how to be sustainable. So there's incredible tools for that. So tools, the guidance, because if you have the tools but you don't know how to use them, the tools aren't that helpful. And sometimes we get a bunch of tools, we read books, we do programs, and we have the tool, but then we don't know how to use it. We don't have the coaching or the support. And so part of the Warrior Goddess Training Circle is also live classes and coaching and ongoing support to integrate the teachings into our life and to be able to say, I'm struggling with this area. How do I undo it? What's my next step? And then the third aspect is around the community, which is critical to have a group of people that are doing the same work, that are inspiring, that are vulnerable, that are role models and cheerleaders and inspirations. So community, and to do more gatherings, more celebrations and ceremonies in community. Because really in the olden days, we'll say, when we were more connected to the land, when we were more in touch with the land, we would come together in large communities over the solstices and the equinoxes. And that's when you would gather, the tribes would gather, different people would come from different places to gather. And that was when you would get to see the new baby that had been born, or learn about who had died, catch up with everybody, cross-pollinate, share, celebrate, and grieve together, all of it. And that those were really precious times. And so even if we right now can only do those kind of gatherings online, there's something incredibly magical of being with a group of people and marking new moon, plant seeds, where do you want to put your intent, and then being held in a container over that moon cycle with a particular theme and a particular focus that the group happens, checking back in at the full moon, equinox, and solstice. So that place of this we've created this trinity of support, which is online teachings that are the best of the courses that I've created over the years that are available anytime. The ongoing coaching and group coaching and counseling and classes, live classes, and the community, the gatherings, the groups of people. Yeah, it's a really powerful circle. We launch on Monday. So 6 days from now, we start this new circle. It's brand new. We have a brand new membership site that's part of it that we've been crafting for months behind the scene. A lot of energy, a lot of thought, a lot of creativity has gone into crafting the circle. And we have space left before we close the circle. So I'm going to share the link for that. Let's see if the link is warriorgoddess.com/circle, which will tell you all about it. And it is very robust. So I know like Leslie's already in it. She's part of another program that's flipping over. Jamie's part of it. Lauren's going to be part of it as well as what we're calling our Spark Squad. It's a labor, what's the right word? There's many midwives that are bringing the circle into the place. Yep, exactly. Yep, grandfathered in until 2021, exactly, Leslie. So there's many midwives that have birthed this circle, and there's an incredible amount of support. It's incredibly robust and thought out. So that's the information about it, warriorgoddess.com/circle. And there's also ongoing support. You know, we're creating a circle within a circle. So within the Warrior Goddess community, there's the Warrior Goddess Women Facebook group, which is open, that one specifically to women or people that identify as women. So that circle is inspiration and guidance, and the podcast, and then my weekly writings. So any of you that aren't on the email list, I do a newsletter every week. Today I wrote about solitude and community. I always love coming up with great articles and ideas to share good writings. And so that's something, if you're not part of the list, just go to warriorgoddess.com and check that out. So you can just scroll to the bottom and join the mailing list. So there's all that support. And then the inner circle is for people that are really ready to go deep and want to be held in a very yummy circle that is, we're going in, here we go. Here's all the tools and the support in a very systematic way. So again, warriorgoddess.com/circle. It closes November 30th. So we're open between now and then. And we start Monday, I think it's at 10:30 or 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern for the first circle. And then we will be relaunching it later. But this round, if you need/want support over the winter, this is a really good time because there's going to be less outdoor time. We're still in pandemic. There is a solid place where you can be held and learn at your own pace of a beautiful combo of recordings, video classes, and live. And we do, through the video recordings, there's a tremendous amount of tools through the second program, which is called Ignite, which is the collage, cord cutting, recapitulation, elemental prayers, the importance of the rattle. Like there's super solid, specific tools that you get to learn how to make or craft or purchase for yourself and how to use those. Plus the ongoing, we have a weekly gathering that'll be on creativity and how to do different creative projects, which will be really fun. Both creativity, internal and external art. You as the artist in all ways. There is a self-care weekly call about really how to nurture yourself, which we don't usually know how to do very well. Good night, Elizabeth. So good to have you here, sweetheart. And then the third call is a coaching call. So that'll be our ongoing weekly group coaching where we'll use the Warrior Heart practice to help people unweave and come into resolution around places that they're stuck. So lots of goodness in one place, the sacred trinity of our creative library, courses/classes, and community is what we're calling it, the 3 C's. So hope you can join us. If you have any questions, you can always email us at hello@heatherashamara.com. Let me write that down for you. hello@heatherashamara.com. And then again, the circle is at, warriorgoddess.com/circle. If you want to get more information on that. All right, loves. Thanks for joining me this evening. And if you're not on the newsletter list, please join. Yay! Hey, Tara. Because I'm putting out every week a new podcast, every week a new article. So good to see you, Desiree. Waving to you. Hope you're doing well up there in Colorado, sweetheart. And sending all of you much love from New Mexico, my little forest. I'm so happy to have my forest back. So it's fun. Thanks, Wendy. Many blessings to you. And I'll hang out a couple more minutes if anybody has any questions, any shares, or any creative solutions you've come up with around anything. I'd love to hear from you as well. Questions are welcome. Or good recipes. We just had, my friend Ginny just made a feast of a meal a couple days ago, which included the kind of classic, oh, the cats. Okay, we'll share about that. Classic green bean casserole. But it was green bean casserole plus, because it had jalapeno, like fried, like you have fried onions usually on top, it had fried jalapenos on it. It was so good. So live streaming with the cats. Yes, we should definitely do some live streaming with the cats. Where I have the cats, once we move into this house, I'll definitely live stream cats. Because the issue is at the other house, where my trailer is and where the cats are, the internet sucks. It's so bad. So I don't even like going on there. But once we move here, kitties are moving to this place, which has the best internet ever. So happy. We'll show the cats. The cats are amazing. So they're floof. Those of you that have been following along with the love streaming since March, we had kitties in April, little cats at the place I was staying. The mama kitty had babies, and I brought 2 of them with me to New Mexico, Romeo and Lilith, and they are now big fluffy kitties. It's amazing. Yes, Leslie, I'm moving to another house in Las Vegas, New Mexico. It's just down the street. It's literally 5 minutes away. Hello, so intrigued by your Adobe kitchen. Would love to come and volunteer. We would love to have you volunteer. We love volunteers. So yeah, I'll definitely let you all know when the next work party is. If you want more information about when the work party, actually the best thing to do is to email us at hello@heatherashamara.com. And Serena can kind of put you on the list for when we do the next work party. It's always work. It's 180 acres. Work. And one more request. I am looking to bring in, my neighbor has 80 acres of land for sale that I really want to bring into the Warrior Heart Ranch. It's a spectacular piece of property. And so I'm negotiating with him. So if you can just send prayers that we're able to get that land and add it to the ranch, it'd be incredible. Leslie, it'd be great to have you come by the land as well. Yeah, we're probably not going to do work parties over winter because it's just probably going to be too cold. But starting next fall or March, spring, probably March, April, it gets warm enough over there in May. But we'll see what the year is like. Yeah, we'll see what the year is like. So 80 bonus acres, which would be 320 acres. Is that correct? I can't count, so that might not be true, but I think that's true. 180 plus 80, 160. Yep, 320. So if you can hold that vision with me, it's in the dream world right now. I'm seeing if I can make it more physical, bring it into the physical realm as well. Yeah, thank you. I know. Thank you, Tara. Yeah. Yeah, I have to call Frank. His name's Frank, so I need to call Frank back and check in with him and see if it's even possible. Thank you. All right, loves. Really, really good to get to be here with you. My heart is full and would be wonderful to continue with those of you that want to go deep, that want a really good support system over the winter and beyond. Check out the circle, warriorgoddess.com/circle. As always, Warrior Goddess Facebook group, Warrior Goddess Women Facebook group is a great place to be also supported and held, along with the newsletter and the podcast. warriorgoddess.com/podcast. Go check out my podcast about community and marriage and friendship. I interviewed my two dear friends that I've known for, I think, 3 decades now. It was a really fun podcast. Thank you. All right, everybody. Good night. Take good care. Mwah. Bye, loves.